Mr. and Mrs. Luce have 7 daughters. Each daughter has 1 brother. Can you tell how many people there are in the family? The correct answer is 10. Mr. Luce, Mrs. Luce, 7 daughters, and 1 brother. Dr. Luce is a world-famous chemist.
Wow.
He has just arrived in London to attend an international science seminar. The next morning, the lab cleaner found Dr. Luce unconscious on the floor. One of the 6 lab assistants poisoned the chemist. The names of the 6 assistants are Austin, William, Oscar, Leo, DJ, and Robert. To solve this case, lab managers called the local detective, Mr. Smith. Dr. Luce left this mysterious note on the table. Here's what he wrote: 76, 20, 44, 79, 16, 22, 7. After reading the note, Mr. Smith asked the police to arrest 2 criminals. Who are the criminals? Oscar and Dustin. Remember that Dr. Luce is a chemist? He encrypted the names of his enemies using the periodic table hanging on the wall. Dr. Luce got better and returned to his work in the lab. He invited a young scientist, Oscar, for a job interview. His resume was too good to be true, so Dr. Luce decided to check Oscar's logical thinking. He offered Oscar to solve this number puzzle. Oscar cracked this task right away. What about you? Here's a little hint. You should read this puzzle from left to right and from top to bottom. Question 1. What are the next 2 rows of numbers? And question 2. Why? Here's the correct answer. Line 3 represents 2 1s. Line 4 then becomes 1 2 and 1 1. Line 5, therefore, is 1 1, 1 2, and 2 1s. Using the same logic, we can now decode line 6, 3 1s, 2 2s, and 1 1. Line 7 is 1 3, 1 1, 2 2s, and 2 1s. Dr. Luce hired Oscar and took him to the basement of the lab, but someone has changed the password on the door. Can you help the guys guess the code? This rebus is a hint. The correct password is summary. Dr. Luce offered one more riddle to his new employee.
How can a man go 8 days without sleep?
Can you help Oscar crack this one? The correct answer is easily, because people sleep at night. In the basement, Dr. Luce found out that someone had stolen his latest innovation, a superhero costume.
Oh no!
He had questioned 3 suspects. Jack, the cleaner, said,
I've been cleaning the floor in the hallway all morning. I haven't entered your office yet.
Peter, the lab assistant, said, I was working on my own project, and besides, I don't have a key to your private office. And Dr. Luce's wife, Helen, said, You never tell me anything about your work. How would I know what to steal? Dr. Luce took fingerprints from the closet where the costume was. But he found only his own fingerprints. Who stole the costume? It was Helen. She's the only one who's wearing gloves.
Oh.
After a short interrogation, Helen confessed that she had sold the costume to Dr. Luce's major enemy, Dr. Phillips. Dr. Luce went to his lab to take his invention back. A creepy guard stopped Dr. Luce at the entrance and asked for a password. Can you help Dr. Luce find out the code? See the sign on the wall? You should rearrange these letters to spell just a single word. So, the correct password is a single word. Dr. Luce entered the building and found himself in a strange place guarded by 2 people. One of the guards always says the truth, while the other one always lies. Dr. Luce doesn't know who is who. He can only ask one question to escape. What should he ask? If he asks the guard who always tells the truth, he would tell that the other guard would point to the dangerous door. And if he asks the guard who always lies, he would tell the opposite door of the truth-telling guard and point to the dangerous door. In either case, both guards will point to the dangerous door, and then Dr. Luce should just choose the other door. Dr. Luce entered the room and saw this group of scientists. Can you spot anything weird in this picture? The scientists are holding 4 slices of pizza in their hands, but only 3 pieces are missing from the pizza box. Dr. Luce entered Dr. Phillips's office. The room was empty. Can you help him find anything suspicious? Someone is hiding in the ceiling vent. Suddenly, Dr. Luce saw Dr. Phillips flying around in the superhero costume. He grabbed Dr. Luce, took him to the top of a mountain, and left him there alone. Dr. Luce wandered around and found 3 tunnels. There's an angry, hungry lion in the first tunnel. There's a huge fire in the second tunnel. And the third tunnel leads through a dinosaur lair. Which way should Dr. Luce choose? The third one. Dinosaurs became extinct millions of years ago. Dr. Luce came to a village and asked the local farmer, Rick, for a glass of water. Rick told him that he'd been struggling to divide his entire land between his 2 sons. Both of the sons have been very good to him. And now, Rick's only wish is to treat his sons fairly and divide his land equally between them. But the problem is that the land has a weird shape, and thus, there's no way to split it into 2 equal halves. Dr. Luce said,
I have an idea. It can guarantee that the land will be divided in a manner that will satisfy both sons.
Can you guess what's on his mind? All Rick needs to do is ask one of his sons to divide the land into 2 parts and tell him that the other son will have the choice of selecting one of those 2 halves. In this manner, both of them will avoid any tricks and divide the land equally. Dr. Luce was sitting at the local restaurant. He was sad because he'd lost his wallet during his adventures. He noticed a man next to him pulling a wad of $100 notes out of his pocket. Dr. Luce turned to the rich guy and said,
Hey, I have an amazing talent. I know almost every song that has ever existed.
The rich guy laughed. Dr. Luce then said,
I'm willing to bet you all the money you have in your wallet that I can sing a genuine song with a lady's name of your choice in it.
The rich man laughed again and said, Okay, how about my wife's name? Helga, Fiona, Mary, Rose, Holmes. This evening, the rich man went home poor, and Dr. Luce went home rich. What song did he sing? The Happy Birthday Song. The villagers told Dr. Luce mystical legends about the local forest. He liked creepy stories and decided to go there and see it for himself. He set off at night and soon got to the forest. He noticed a small shop nearby. The seller said, Hey bro, don't go to this forest unequipped. Take this magic potion. It will make any creepy monster fall asleep for 10 hours. Dr. Luce took 1 bottle and continued the journey. He wandered there for several hours, but he didn't see anything mysterious. Dr. Luce was about to leave right before dawn. Someone appeared in front of him. A pair of vampires that feed on humans and a siren who hunts people using her singing. So there are 3 enemies, but Dr. Luce has only 1 potion. What should he do? The sun will rise in a few seconds, and vampires will run away. That's why he should pour the potion at the siren. Dr. Luce found an abandoned castle. As soon as he entered, someone locked the door. Dr. Luce found 3 ways out, but all of them were dangerous. The first path was full of hungry wolves. It was impossible to get through. The second passage was guarded by 5 vacuum cleaner robots that were reprogrammed to hunt down humans. And the third passage was filled with molten lava. What door should he choose? The second one. The vacuum cleaners might go after him, but they're pretty harmless. Finally, Dr. Luce returned to his hometown. He's also a college teacher. Unfortunately, he didn't have enough time to prepare for the upcoming class. Therefore, he offered the students this tricky lesson. There was no homework, assignments, or tests, but there was a final test that would have only one question on it. When everyone received the test, it was a blank sheet of paper with a question on it. What is risk? Most students managed to give their answers, but only one student deserved the highest grade.
Yes!
That's weird because he only wrote down one word. What did he write? His reply was this. Dr. Luce went on a business trip to Vienna. He felt very nervous because he was about to meet a lady he used to date in college, Jane. She's also a scientist who's currently working on immortality pills. That's why she asked Dr. Luce to come over and help her. As soon as he entered her office, he knew that something had gone wrong. 3 zombies were standing in the room. Can you tell which one is his ex-girlfriend? Take a look at Dr. Luce's hand. He has a tattoo, T plus J. So his girlfriend is the second zombie because she has a tag on her foot that says Jane. Let's see if you know famous logos well. I removed the names from all of them. How many do you think you can recognize? Let's start with some easy ones. You must have this one on your phone. What is it? This is Instagram, of course. It's the 4th most popular social media platform in the world with over 1 billion active users. Here comes the next one. I bet you get childhood flashbacks now, but what's this castle? It's a bit old school, but I'm sure you managed to recognize it. It's Walt Disney Pictures. Do you remember whom this sign belongs to? This is Batman, of course. Who's your favorite superhero? You must know this one. So do you have an answer? Of course, it's Tesla. Just 2 circles, but I'm sure you know it, and you probably have one. It's MasterCard. Does this one ring a bell? Gamers will know instantly though. This is Xbox. Moving on, what's this sign? It's Toyota, a popular Japanese car brand. Do you still ever watch TV? If so, you should have no problem recognizing this one. It's Cartoon Network, a TV channel. What do you think this is? I have a thing for Japanese cars today. It's Mitsubishi. Moving on from car brands, what is this company? It's Chanel's logo. By the way, Coco isn't Chanel's real name. Her real name is Gabrielle Chanel. Coco was her childhood nickname. When you see it, you know you'll definitely enjoy the next 2 hours. What is it? Of course, it's the Warner Brothers logo. So many great movies. Looks very familiar, but what exactly is it? It's Sprite. It's the 5th best-selling soft drink on the market. This one is way harder to recognize, so I'll give you a hint. It's a soft drink too. Yeah, right. It's Dr. Pepper. It's the 6th best-selling drink, going right after Sprite. Another way to spend a great evening. What is this company? It's DreamWorks. What about this purple logo? It's Yahoo! I don't think there's a person out there who doesn't know what this is. It's Hogwarts logo, the school of witchcraft and wizardry from the Harry Potter universe. Back to our non-magical world. What's this company? It's Amazon. The company started out in 1995 as a garage bookstore, by the way. Do you know what this is? It's the PlayStation logo. Does this one ring a bell? It definitely should. It's Monopoly. Also, for some reason, this game has thousands of special editions. Huh? What's that song? Ask Shazam. Even if you're not a gamer, you can probably recognize this. It's The Sims, a life simulator game that was a real hit in the 2000s. It's a new logo, but I think you must know it by now. It's Meta. It's the new name of Facebook Incorporated. They own Instagram and WhatsApp too. Not as popular as Facebook, but you might know this app, or ask someone from Gen Z. It's Discord, a messenger. Originally, it was used by gamers, but now there's more users building their communities of interests. Okay, what's this? Yeah, I'm back to car brands again. This is Ferrari. Can you recognize this sign and to whom it belongs? It's Wonder Woman. If you're a traveler, you know it all too well. It's Airbnb, an online marketplace for lodging. It's a bit old school, but still everyone's favorite. That's Discovery Channel. It's pretty hard, but you know it very well, I'm sure. It's Walmart. What do these two letters stand for? It's Baskin-Robbins, a worldwide ice cream brand. Even without the name, it's still recognizable. So, what do you say? It's Doritos. A tricky one. I'll give you a little hint. It has to do with clothes. It's Jack Wolfskin, a German manufacturer of quality outdoor clothes. Not so mainstream, but you've seen it a million times. That's Nestle. You must love all things luxury if you have one of those. That's Rolex, a Swiss watch designer. Can you recognize this logo? That's Tommy Hilfiger, an American clothing brand. What about this one? It might seem hard, but I'm sure you'll know it. That's Nintendo Switch. What does this O stand for? This is Opera, a web browser. For fellow oldies, this brings back so many memories. It's ICQ, and if you're from Gen Z, it's a messenger. That's what we used in the olden dinosaur days before Discord, or even WhatsApp was invented. What is this panda bear? World Wildlife Fund, or WWF. That's an international non-governmental organization working on preserving wildlife. You should know it well if you travel a lot. Toblerone, known by many as the airport chocolate. Do you know what this company is? It's the logo of the World Health Organization. Noah reported to the police that someone had stolen his red motorbike the previous night, right out of his garage. The police started to search for it and tracked 3 main suspects. Take a look at them. Which one of them stole Noah's motorbike? It's this guy on the right. Look closely. His motorbike is painted, but the paint is a bit dripped, and you can spot the old red color. He must have stolen it and painted it in a different color to not attract any attention, but you caught him. Great job! Now your task will be able to decide which person of the 2 is in the wrong. Ready? Here's the first one. Belle and Emma are both running late for school, so they're taking a shortcut. Belle decided to walk through the woods, and Emma chose to cross a frozen lake. Who is in danger? Emma, look, there are cracks on the ice surface of the lake. Nicole and Diana are spending time with their families. Nicole is playing board games with her dad, and Diana is watching a movie with her sister. Which one of them is doing something wrong? Nicole. She forgot about the food that she was cooking in the oven, and now it's burning. Pamela is getting ready for a business meeting at 12 o'clock. William is driving to pick up his mother from the airport. Her plane arrives in half an hour. Who missed something? Pamela. She must have confused the time. The meeting was at 12 o'clock, but it's already 12:30. It's early morning on the first day of school after the spring break. Ren and Caden are driving their daughters to school. Who is not being smart? Caden. His daughter isn't even in the car. Sophie and Ruby were having a picnic outside when it got dark. They packed their things and took off to go home and watch a movie. Who is wrong? Ruby. She left her bag on the grass. Look, her name is written on the badge. Ava and Maeve went camping in the forest. Suddenly, they noticed a moose moving towards them. Who's in greater danger? Ava for sure. She's wearing heels. Who wears heels on a forest walk? So she will run slower. Tommy went to the police and reported that he had been robbed on the street, right on the way to the bank. Here's what he said. I was going to the bank to pay back the rest of my credit. In the park, about halfway between my house and the bank, someone approached me from the back and hit me on the head. I think I was unconscious for a while. When I came back to my senses, the money was gone. I remember that the person was wearing a black hoodie and had blonde hair, but I can't say more. The detective didn't believe him. Why? Tommy said that the robber had approached him from the back and hit him, and then he had fallen unconscious. Still, he managed to give some specific details about the robber's appearance. But if it had really happened, he wouldn't have been able to see him and remember the details. Several girls went missing in a small town. The police had been looking for them for many months but couldn't find any traces. One day, they finally managed to follow the kidnapper and found the place where the girls were kept hostage. When they entered the place, there were just 3 girls. They all said that they had been locked in a small room and had never left it. The detective knew that one of them must have been the kidnapper. The first girl said that her name was Annika and that she had spent the last year there. The second girl, Amelia, said that she had spent about half a year there. The third girl said that her name was Flora and that she'd spent about 9 months at that place. Can you guess who's lying? Amelia is lying. Look, her hair is definitely freshly cut. The other girl's hair is a mess. It doesn't look like there's a hair studio down there, so she went out, unlike the other 2. Let's test how sharp your eyes are. I will show you different objects, and your task is to find the correct shadow. Wanna try? Let's go. Here's the first one. Can you find the right shadow of this plant? Yes, it's right here. Great job. So here's another one for you. Pay attention. Look, here it is. Now let's make it harder. Can you find the right shadows here? It's this one. Now look at the pictures I'll show you and try to find the odd one out. Yep, it's right here. Here's another one for you. Do you see it? Look, here it is. Level up. Here are some animals. All of them have a duplicate but one. Which one is a singleton? It's this one. A long time ago in what is now Sweden, a princess was kidnapped. The kidnappers locked her in a small room on one little island surrounded by a huge lake. Even if she managed to get out of the room, she wouldn't be able to cross it. So she was safely hidden there. And only once a month, someone would bring her food. There was nothing on the island, and she couldn't build anything to swim. Still, after half a year of being held hostage, she escaped and returned back home safely. How did she manage to do it? It happened where Sweden is now, so it was up north. It's cold there in the winter, and the water freezes. When the winter came and the lake turned to ice, the princess was able to cross it. While Mr. York, a rich gentleman, was out on his 3-month vacation, his mansion was robbed. The security was notified and the detective started the investigation. There were 3 people caught on the security camera. Hudson, the owner's old friend, said that he'd come to collect the post. Leo, the cleaning man, said that he had come 3 days ago to clean the house. Maverick, the gardener, said that he had come every week to take care of the garden and the houseplants. All of them denied stealing anything. Who's the robber? It's the gardener. If he was taking such good care of the plants, why does the garden look like a mess and the plants in the house are all dried out? For English class, the students were supposed to read a classic English book. The teacher said that there would be no test, just a discussion. But he wanted them to take it seriously. 1 month later in class, he asked who had read the book. Only 3 students raised their hands. Still, the teacher knew that one of them was lying. Who didn't read the book? It's this student. The copies of the other two students' books are definitely used. Look, their spines are bent. But this student's book looks absolutely new and perfect. In the morning, a big sum of money in the office went missing from the accountant's bureau. 3 people were in the office at the time. Haley, the accountant, said that she'd left for several minutes to go to the bathroom. Eric, the software manager, said that he'd been busy with his work, but even if he wanted, he couldn't possibly have done it because the key hadn't even been there. Joseph, the cleaning man, said that he'd been cleaning the 2nd floor at the time. Can you tell who's lying? It's Eric. Why was he so confident that the key wasn't there? He knew it because he saw it, and probably he had a duplicate key to open it. Now I'll show you some photos, and your task will be to guess what's wrong with them. Let's begin. Here's the first one for you. Look, there's a lot of snow, so it's obviously winter, but the leaves on the trees are green. That's a mismatch. Can you tell what's wrong here? There's a person in outer space, but he's not wearing any spacesuit helmet. Impossible. What about this picture? Do you see something odd? Look, this one is definitely a cat. I don't think it belongs there underwater. Look closely. Do you see a mismatch here? It's obviously night. It's dark outside, but the clock shows that it's 1:30 p.m. It can't be. What do you think about this photo? Anything weird? Pay attention to how this guy right here is dressed. Shorts and a t-shirt are definitely a bit too light for this weather. It's either a mistake or he's crazy. Let's proceed. What's wrong here? The cow right here is too small. It's the size of a chicken, and also the chicken is too big, I think. The police finally tracked a house from where someone was doing illegal online activities. The next day, they broke in, but there was no one there, and the house looked abandoned. Dirty, dusty, with broken windows. They decided it was a mistake. What do you think? Does anyone ever come here? Look at this. There's a little bouquet of flowers. It's fresh. If the place had been abandoned, it would have already dried out a long time ago. They definitely should keep watching the house.